Here we are. Here we are. Welcome, everyone. It is Facebook Live Day. How are you, Dr. Linda?
I am great. How are you, Christine?
I'm just so happy we finally got this working.
I know, right?
People actually say this, right? On Facebook, like, oh my gosh, why isn't it working? Well, it's working, everybody. So happy to have you here. So today we are talking business brilliance with Dr. Linda Jordon. And I am going to do the formal thing right out of the gate, and then we're going to get into this juicy conversation. So Dr. Linda Jordon is a leadership consultant, a personal development coach focusing on diversity, inclusion, and organizational change management. She has over 30 years of experience in operations management, leadership development, training, leadership coaching, business process improvement, diversity, inclusion, contact center development, and management, organizational development, and training within the US and abroad. Girl, why don't you just go, I can do it all.
I know it is a lot. Every time I hear it's like, I need to take something out. But then I take something out. Yeah.
I've been there. I've done it. What do you need to know? Just ask me. Just ask me. It's brilliant. So you are a certified life coach, a certified coach, trainer, and speaker with the Maxwell leadership team. You're a course facilitator with Cornell University. You're a certified NLP practitioner, certified in emotional intelligence, and a real estate investor. Girl, like, when do you have time? Like, thank you for sparing 30 minutes because I am sure that you are jam-packed.
Yeah, and I didn't put one thing on under because I said that would be just too much, but I am an elected official as well.
You're an elected official. Well, yeah. We're not going to get into that conversation.
No, we're not going to get into that.
Because we could go in a different direction. Tell me something. You know, I've said to you, we're going to follow the energy because I love having conversations like that. So tell me, when I told you what I thought a great topic title would be, what popped into your mind? So the topic title is Business Brilliance. What popped into your mind?
Actually, my mind went blank. I thought, holy cow, I got to nail it down to one thing.
So what does the word brilliance mean to you?
Brilliance means to me that when you're talking about business, is that someone who can very easily take something, a small piece of whatever, information, technology, and magnify it.
Okay.
To me, that's business brilliance. You can really take it and run with it. Create it, make it your own.
Make it your own. So what are you seeing that people are missing in making something their own?
I think people are afraid to make something their own.
Tell me more.
I think it's that fear of not accountability, but the fear of, if you build it, will they come? Who's going to be ready to buy whatever it is you're selling? And I'd say for my generation, that's a lot of what I see. The younger generation, they're going to build it. They know people are going to come because they're going to keep selling it and keep selling it and keep selling. Whereas my age population, we're in that phase of, if you build it, will they come? We second guess ourselves. We question whether we did it right. We got to dot every I, cross every T, make sure it's ready to go 100%, no mistakes.
So we're afraid of failing.
Yes, that's a long way of saying afraid of failing, and the fear of, am I good enough?
So how do you, with your brilliance in business, how do you shift and move your clients over to damn straight you're good enough?
Well, I normally tell my story of my feeling of how I thought I wasn't good enough, didn't have enough money, didn't have enough time, didn't know who to call, who to contact, what to do. So I share my story because I want people to know, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm just a country girl.
Will you share that with me right now? Because I have no idea what that is. These are the best conversations. Do you know, truthfully, side note, I don't want to know a lot about you before I have a conversation with you. I want to be really present, and I want to be able to hear it the first time while I'm interviewing.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think it's a much more engaging conversation. So
sure.
Take it away.
Well, as I said, I'm a country girl, born and raised in Virginia. I am one of 8 children, so I'm smack dab in the middle. And we grew up on a farm. So, we didn't go to the grocery store very often. We didn't go out to eat dinner. We ate off of the land. We had our animals, we had our chickens, we harvest vegetables. And so I didn't really know that we were, as I would say, poor until I moved away from home and went off to college and got to learn and connect with other people. But as I look back now, it's like we were poor, but we were so happy. We were enriched with so much more than what people have today. And so for me, country girl coming from Virginia, not having a lot, not knowing a lot, and just learning to strive to be the best at whatever it is that I did. My mom always said, if you're going to be a dishwasher, be the best dishwasher there is. And so I have taken that with me my entire life. For whatever job or role I was in, when I was in corporate, I wanted to be the best at everything. And I still do that as an entrepreneur. I've got to be the best. I've got to know the most.
Does that ever hold you back at what we were talking about in the beginning, that worrying that you're good enough?
Yes, it does, because I'm a perfectionist. It's like, when COVID came and everybody had to pivot, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I struggled literally 6 months trying to prepare myself to do a Facebook Live. I mean, it took me like 25 takes, and I would do it because I pre-record to make sure it was right. Didn't like it. I forget a word, couldn't do it. And by the end, after about an hour, I'm like, I'm not doing this. I just said, I'm not doing this. This is too hard. But then one day I said, good is better. Done is better than perfect. That's what I had to tell myself. Done is better than perfect. And I said, if I mess up, then that's okay. I won't apologize. It's just life. It's just me. I'm Facebook Live. And I haven't looked back since.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. It's very interesting when we are, when we have that desire for excellence, how that negative voice in our head can really kick in and can really control us, right? Yeah. And, talking on the subject of business brilliance, I think that when we are in that, crazy making brain, that we miss out on the brilliance that we are being.
Yes.
And we miss out on those opportunities of connecting in with what is trying to come through. I mean, I know for myself that, when it's easy, it can't be brilliant. When it's easy, Christine, it's just too easy. Nobody's going to be interested in that, right? And that locked me out of what was trying to, the universe, my body, my business were trying to be like, yo, McIver, you got something here. Step up. So how did you begin to change this perfection in your brain and move you out of this?
What started the change was, as I tell everyone, I was blessed with breast cancer.
Oh, Lord.
And and that really changed me, because I was out of control I had no control of the situation other than my treatment. I couldn't control the fact that I had breast cancer. I couldn't control anything about the surgery. I could control what I wanted, but the output, I couldn't control that. And so that was painful, because I was always the person in control of everything, from household to the office. I was in control. And at that one moment, I had no control. So then I realized that, there's certain things that you may not need to control. And I just kind of have to get over it. And so as I was venturing into doing these Facebook Lives, I had to remind myself of, you can't control everything. And so just let it go. So what? I spent a whole day trying to make this video perfect, but it's okay. And so that helped me and has continued to help me a lot. I have to remind myself that it's not going to be perfect. Even in reconstruction of breast tissue, they're not going to be perfect the way they were. And I'm okay with that.
Do
And
you
so I had
think,
to learn that.
do you think that we have these interesting challenges come our way because we're just knuckleheads that we won't wake up? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I had something similar, not physical cancer, but I had a mental health breakdown. And it was the freaking best thing that woke me up.
Isn't that interesting how you got to go through a tragedy to
Yeah.
find something that's already there?
But we're so stubborn. And I think that we're also like so narrow focused that we're not willing to see the brilliance that we are being.
Right. Yeah. Because we want to
Right.
be in control.
Right. And we want to buy the lies that we've been buying and selling to ourselves for
Yeah.
years and years and years.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell us, what do you do with clients? Like, what's your core business with clients in business?
So from a consulting perspective with organizations, my core business is to increase productivity and increase profits. And so I do that by doing an assessment to find out what's going on with the employees. How are they feeling? Do they feel engaged? Do they feel excited to come to work? Are they being heard? And if they're not, then we know that there's a problem.
Right, right.
And so a result of that is getting, individual clients who want to improve personally from a personal development standpoint, and
Mhm.
they want to elevate their leadership skills. They want to move to the next level.
Have you seen, I mean, that's brilliant work. I was in HR for 20 years, so I know this side of the game as well. Um, I'm curious, have you found a shift in people's desires post-COVID?
Yes. The desires, well, first of all, the people have changed. People
Right.
that are in my age bracket have decided that, I'm ready to transition and do something different. The younger generation has moved into the workforce, not a lot, but some have, and they want something different. They want to be heard quickly. They want resolution like yesterday. Where I'm a baby boomer, I'm like, okay, well, it may take 6 months for someone to make this policy happen or make this change happen. The younger generation, they want it now. And if they don't get it now, guess what? They leave because they say there's something better on the other side. They're not going to sit there and hem and haw like, I did. They're ready to move to that next position, that next career. Even if they have to go back to school, they're ready to do that because they are not willing to jeopardize their values. I guess
Right.
is what I would say. They're not going to jeopardize their values because someone else is not doing what they're supposed to do.
That's very cool. I really do love that. And they are challenging
They
because
do. Yes.
they're knocking up against us. Like, we've been giving them lip service, follow your values, and then we haven't been following through it. Right. It's like, well, you told me, this is what you taught me.
Yep. And then you're not doing it. So like next.
I love this. We have a comment by Gordon. He says, those challenges are the dirt we require to be able to have the nutrients to grow.
Ooh,
I
love it.
really like that. Thank you, Gordon. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So where do you see your role in business going forward with these very significant changes that are happening?
That's a great question. My role that is currently evolving is that organizations and individuals, they are yearning for emotional intelligence skill sets. They're yearning for leaders to be better, to hold themselves accountable, and they're learning for better communication, and they're yearning for acceptance with regard to being included, having a seat at the table. That's what they're yearning for. And if they don't get it, they're checking out.
Yeah. I think that, it's high time we listened. And I think organizations are missing out on, they're like truly missing out on some amazing insights
Yes.
from their teams. And, gone are the days of considering somebody just a name or just an employee. There's not a just in any of
Right.
it, right?
Mhm.
I have this, I was being interviewed this one time in a car, which was the coolest thing. It was really weird. It was really wild, but it was very cool. You really had to be present. And have you ever said something that just jumped out of your mouth and you're like, oh my gosh, that was
Yeah.
cool. Right? Well, this happened for me. This happened for me. And it was really coming from my heart. And what came out of me was, until your voice is added to the conversation does not truly begin.
Love that.
And for me, I think we need to see both sides of that. So we need to see this from the perspective of self. And we need to understand that we have insight that no one else has in the world.
Yes.
The combination of our experiences are unique and will always be.
Yes.
And from the perspective of the employer or the perspective of a client, we need to see that individual has something to contribute if we're willing to be present and truly listen.
Yes, that is key. And, my mom always said, when you're in the office, you think twice and speak once. And I think leaders today, they're so busy with lip service, they don't have time to listen to their employees. And when I say listen to their employees, I mean listen to all of them. Just don't listen to the employees that, every time something happens, they're popping up, hey, there's an issue. They need to pay attention and be very mindful of the employees that are not as vocal, because they have voices that need to be heard as well.
Absolutely.
And they may not express themselves the same because they don't feel that they're going to be heard because they are quiet. But they're the worker bees, I call it. They're getting stuff done. And then they're going home to say, oh my gosh, I hate my job.
It reminds me, I was HR in the hospitality industry for a number of years. And there's a statistic, and I think everybody should know this statistic. So out of 20 customers that will come into a restaurant, 17 customers will leave and not tell you they had bad service. They will never return, and they will go down the street to another restaurant. 3 will be the only ones that will actually put up their hand and complain. And now I don't know what the statistic is on how many of us in the restaurant industry will actually listen, because we're usually frustrated. We don't want to hear negative feedback. And yet, how can we grow if we're not hearing someone's personal experience that was less than positive?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I think as a business owner, as a leader, we need to be willing to hear what other people are experiencing, and we need to seek out that information.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. I mean, you talk about restaurants. Having created a contact center for a pharmaceutical company, I'm all about customer service. I'm one of those 3 people. If service is not great, I'm gonna tell you. And my husband is just as bad, because he'll be like, manager, please, before we check out. And he will bring them over and we'll sit down and have a conversation. He points out every little thing, from down to how they clean the tables, how they clean the seats.
Oh my gosh. I love it. My kids will be like, no, Mom, please don't. Please don't.
But what we found is that the management is so appreciative. And my thing to them is, why didn't you train them better?
Yeah.
Because we've asked the servers, tell me why you kind of did that. And they'll say, well, we've always done it that way. Like, okay, that's fair.
That's a great reason.
Yeah, because I don't want to go to the manager to say, well, your employees, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. I find out from them, how are you trained? And if they're trained that way, they're going to say, this is the way we've always done it.
Absolutely.
So then when we talk to the management and say, hey, this is what we saw, and you might want to address that a little differently. They're like, oh, well, I didn't think we trained them that way. But see, they said, I didn't think.
Yes. Yeah. They're not really the ones doing the training or the change.
Right. They're making an assumption.
Right. So for our entrepreneurs out there, for our soulpreneurs, for our individuals that are desiring to jump in or to expand their business, how can we contribute to them with this conversation? What can they take away from this?
I'd say for entrepreneurs, for solopreneurs, I mean, some of them, most of them may be, 1 or 2 people in the office, or you're just like me, I'm running my business myself. we have to be mindful of our behaviors. We have to be mindful of how we interact with others, how we communicate with them. What's our body language? Because that sends the message as to, whether we're going to invite people in or not. When you're doing a sales call, it's all about how you present yourself. So we just need to have that level of awareness around who we are, how we behave, and again, how we present ourselves from a body perspective. Even on Zoom, always have your camera on. Don't have your camera looking at the ceiling. That's not doing anybody any good.
Don't be doing that. And y'all know, if you've taken my course, y'all know what I say.
Yeah, don't be doing that. So, just to have that level of self-awareness is critical for the success of their business. It's critical when they're trying to get clients or doing a sales call or just having a conversation in general, because you can just have a general conversation with someone and not know that, they may refer you to someone else.
Absolutely.
Because referrals, when you're in business for yourself, referrals are critical. So we just have to have that level of self-awareness.
Mm-hmm. And if they're struggling with understanding what that looks like, is that something that you work with people on? Is that something you support individuals with?
Absolutely, yes. So I do a different series of leadership assessments to help leaders understand their communication styles and how they're really feeling about certain things, because we all get up in the morning every day to go do whatever it is we do, but you have feelings around what you do and how you interact with individuals. And that plays a critical role in your decision making. It plays a critical role in your communication behavior styles. So I do those leadership assessments to bring that level of awareness to the surface.
That's brilliant. I love it. So people can connect with you at Linda Jordon, JORDON.com. The joke is my son is AN and I messed up a couple of times trying to create this Facebook Live picture.
Yes, Jordon.
Jordon. So definitely reach out to Linda, inquire more about what she can contribute to you. Any last things you want to share with our listeners today?
What I would say is that, for whoever's listening, whether you're a leader, you are a worker, 9-to-5 person, or whatever your role is, or if you're a retired individual, or you're someone who's in transition, what I would say is that go with your gut. Our internal instincts tell us how we need to be acting. If we feel that something is not going to go smoothly, go with your gut. But most importantly, don't sit in a position or that you're not happy with, or don't be in a position from whatever may be going on and you're feeling like that you're not being heard, you're not being included. Say something to someone, because if you don't tell people how you feel, they will continue to treat you that way. You will continue to have positions passed over you.
Mm-hmm.
So just know that it's okay to say what's on your heart. When you do say those things, be respectful, but make sure that your voice is heard so that you can take those steps to take you to that next level, whatever that may be.
Brilliant. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jordon.
Thank you, Christine. It's been so fabulous.
It's been awesome.
Finally connect with you.
Finally, yeah, exactly. Thank you, everybody on Facebook land. Say goodbye to Dr. Jordon and check her out, because who knows, maybe you're missing out on some leadership information that could take you to the next level.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.